Okay, so we're all muted. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining us for our call this evening. Really excited to go through a topic tonight that we spent a bit of time, which is really interesting. Nancy and I are notorious for last minute organizing our calls, and John, we've done something in the past, and he's exactly said that to me. He'd say something like, "God, you gave me 7 minutes this time to prepare." Today we actually told each other an hour ago and said let's make sure we hit a couple of points here that we're hoping to get across the table. So John, welcome to the call. You've been busy doing a little bit of traveling, getting out there. How's the feeling in the market right now? How excited are you?
You know what, Don, I am, I'm super excited. I'm not just saying that. I am super excited. There are so many things, that are happening, that are on the horizon. This next 60 days, I know we're going to talk about this in a moment, but the importance of what we have going on right now over the course of the next 60 days as we go into, that new year. So anyway, I'm excited to be here.
Well, yeah, and you know what? It's fun. We've been talking a fair bit. Yesterday we spent, it must have been a good hour and a half on the phone while I was driving and you were driving, and just sharing ideas and brainstorming on some points we can bring to our teams. And you know what? We're just so happy that we're going to finish the year strong. So what we want to do tonight is kind of hit three topics and finish off with what we're really going to push ahead, which is how to hit the 2018 running. So, one of the things that we're really stressing, and by the way, for those of you who want to join, we are going to do a Zoom call after this. Brett Griffin's going to have it logged on, ready to go, and we're going to go do a little planning session for some people who are going to join us, and we're going to use our 12-page document that we've got on Team Gets Results in the file section that you can print off. You're more than welcome to. So we're going to go through a planning session, and part of that planning session is really to talk about the why. So, John, you and Nancy and I are really strong on this point. I think lots of new reps, lots of our membership, and particularly many of us for the last 2 and 3 years underestimated the power of the why. And so what I found now is the most important thing we can do with that why is to make that emotional connection with our person and find the common ground between the two people so that they really understand that we're very similar. So when you say to somebody, why do you want more money, why do you want more time, or why do you need better health, it's a lot different than just having somebody say, well, tell me your why. Now, what we are finding is that every one of us have a connection. Every one of us have something in each of those whys that relates to our own personal story. So when I'm chatting with somebody and they start talking about, and I've used this example on other calls, their time they want to spend with their kids, I can relate right away to the time I didn't spend with my son and my daughter as I was traveling and being so busy with some of my past life businesses that I had or careers that I was working on. And so it's so important for you to find that common ground. When somebody says to you, their health is so important to them because they want to see their kids, again, you can relate to some component of your life when it meant children and how you're missing something and you want to be there for when they graduate. You want to be there for when their kids are, becoming young teenagers and all that sort of stuff. In order for us to do that, we're going to need to be healthy. So the conversation is really important during this why portion of what we do in the early stages of a new member, that you've got to spend time on it. Make it one of the most important planning parts of your conversation. And so one of the things I was going to do is just get Nancy just to share, because she's been doing a lot of connecting with people and reconnecting with people. And when she's reconnecting with people, what I find my wife is always doing is trying to go back with them and say, well, listen, don't you remember what it was that brought you into Valentus at the very beginning? And so when Nancy shares that with people, she gets that connection with them again and gets them back to ground zero. And what we're really doing all the time is either starting people right or resetting their business. So Nancy, do you just want to share little thoughts around what you believe is the most important feature of finding that why?
Well, I think that sometimes what can happen is when you ask somebody what their why is, they're kind of put on the spot and they want to please you with their answer. And so that's the wrong reason to create a why, is to create a why as to the person that you're sitting down and planning with. Sometimes a why needs to be sort of mulled over in private, and they need to decide what their connection is, whether and I've heard people say your why should make you cry. I've heard people say that. It's a great little saying, because that's what you need to plug into. That's what you need to feel when you've heard a couple of no's and somebody, like, it's amazing the averages that they talk about how many no's somebody has to hear before they actually emotionally forget what their why was. And if your why is super, super strong, I got to tell you, for me, somebody says no to me, and I actually am smiling the whole time they're saying no, because I realize they just haven't figured out that they need what I have. And so for me, I think that the why also has to be really, really emotional. And so many of us get into these conversations about what your why is, and I know I do personally with a lot of the women that I'm talking to on the phone, women and men included, and not always in a couple situation is the why the same. I know Dawn is often motivated by money, and that doesn't motivate my don't get me wrong, I like spending it, but it doesn't motivate me. When I'm talking to people and their emotions are involved, that's the part that I really plug into. So that's the reason why.
So John, maybe you want to just sort of add your 2 cents on that importance of the why as we move into the last 4 minutes of this first 10 minutes of our call.
Well, Don, several things. First off, just let me say, on your training manual that you had put together, just excellent job. It's such of a powerful document to help people, really follow and outline that success and the steps they need to make and different things like that. So thank you for that. That's just a great manual. As I'm listening, to you talk about the why and the importance of the why, and several things come to mind. And guys, I got to put this on speakerphone. My headset's going dead. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. Perfect.
Okay, good. So anyway, one of the things, Nancy just touched on it, is the emotion, right? The emotion is that old saying, people may not remember what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Well, that's the same thing with a why. How does that why make you feel? Nancy mentioned your why should make you cry. So, and it evolves. It evolves. I mean, you do. When you ask somebody what's your why, they've never really, in many cases, never really thought about it. And so asking them some questions, what would you like to have better in your life? What would make your life better, right? I mean, maybe it's a job that they hate, or maybe it's just crazy financial stress and pressure, or, their health. And so I think working with somebody to help them really develop their why, which can be done through asking questions to really dig down to that emotion, right? And so that I think is point number one. Point number two on that why, Don, is then having them review that why every single day, because if they don't, we can, it's just like a goal or anything else, right? We can say we want something, but then it drifts away, right? And the key is tapping into that emotional connection to what that is, that why that you want, by reviewing it every day, maybe writing it on your bathroom mirror, maybe, put it into some type of an affirmation, where you read it in the morning, read it before you go to bed at night, which, that whole conscious mind affecting the subconscious, keeping it at the forefront of your thoughts. And so, and then I think point number three on the why is asking, because I've done this with people, okay, so you say, you really want this business badly, and we've identified what the why is. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, you're going to find me dead along the road or at the top of the mountain, right? I mean, that's the level of commitment that you have for that why, which ties right into the business, and it's all kind of tied together, right? And if somebody comes back to you and says, well, I'm a 4, I mean, how bad do you want, I want this money, I want this, get out of my job, I want this health, I want, whatever that is, whatever that why is, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being, there's no stopping you, where are you? Well, I'm a 7. Well, you know what, until we get you to a 10, you're not going to achieve that. So what do we need to do to get you to 10? So, because if somebody says, well, I'm a 4, or I'm a 7, or I'm a 6, the bottom line is you're going to abandon it, right? You're going to abandon it at the first obstacle, right? We need to get you to that 10, and part of getting to that 10 is really digging down to the emotion of that, number one. And number two is that daily cultivation to keep it at the forefront of your thoughts. Turn that why into, where you wake up thinking about it, you go to bed thinking about it, you dream about it, right? Daydream about it. It becomes, and every time you review it, you tap into those emotions. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on that, Don.
No, it's bang on. And what's exciting about what you and Nancy shared around that is that when we do a planning session with people, the document that we've created in our planning session lets you write it down. And what I'm recommending each of us do is take a picture of that and then copy that picture into the contact of that person on your phone, so that when you're reviewing together the progress you're making, you have an opportunity to quickly look at that sheet and see what it was that you emotionally connected on, and remind each other along the way what it was that you did. And let's finish what we started, which was my training I did on Monday morning. Like, finish what we started. Let's go back to what we started for and why we're doing this, and let's go for it. So there you go. So there's our first section of our call tonight, really emphasizing the importance of the why. Now, the second thing really is you've got to be a prospector. You've constantly got to be bringing people into the program in terms of prospecting. And we have created a manual, once again, for you to track your activity. And what we stress now is that all activity causes productivity. And that's a little saying that I came up with on this training manual about a month ago when we released it. And John, you're going to talk a little bit about that prospecting and what that means to you, and just how to remain active in that, constant sort of looking for those people, keeping your eyes and ears open, and the methods that you might recommend to prospect. So John, why don't you take that?
Yeah, and just to comment a little bit on, that activity, creates productivity, because, so many times people confuse, activity with accomplishment, meaning what are they active doing? I'm working this business full time. I'm working this business 2 hours a day. I'm working this business 10 hours a week, whatever it is. What are you doing? What are you doing with that time? And, when you really are honest with yourself, right, what are you doing? I mean, are you spending all your time, let's say you got 2 hours a day, right, and you spend an hour and 45 minutes trying to figure out what to do with the last 15 minutes, who to call? Because, at the end of the day, what do we get paid for? And I'm guessing most everybody, what do we get paid for? We get paid to talk to people, right? Talk to people about, about our business, about our products, about this opportunity. That's what we get paid for. Talk to people for ourselves and get paid to talk to people for other people, right? But it's talking to somebody that is not yet involved in our business, not yet using our products. So, in that whole evaluation of activity, what are you doing with the time? Because it needs to be prospecting. And so, and the thing about it is, you hear that saying about luck, right? Somebody is lucky. They find someone really good and they're lucky, right? Well, here's luck. Luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. Every day we are out and about and we're meeting people, right? This past month I sponsored 3 business packs accidentally just by, yesterday I land in Omaha. I'm driving, taking Uber to the hotel to get my truck, and, I'm talking to the Uber driver. What is this what you do full time? It's just, there's always opportunity. And so part of that preparation, is your mindset, right? You need to be prepared. You need to have samples on you. You need to have, tools on you. You need to have your card. You need to be prepared because you don't know when that superstar is going to enter your life, when that superstar is going to pass through your life, and it may only be a moment in a line at a grocery store, right? But being mentally prepared, being, physically prepared, being, prepared with the materials necessary to give them that sample, right? So what do we get paid for? We get paid to talk to people. That's asking yourself and be honest, is that what you're doing? What are you doing with your time? You have to keep that pipeline full. You look at the only way any one of us are going to grow our businesses is it's new people. We're not going to grow it with our existing people talking to them. We're going to grow it by it's the only way any of us can grow our business is by new people. And that's where we need to make sure our focus is. And every day that opportunity, opens up, for us. So, Don, back to you.
Yeah, let me just add to that. And I don't want to put them on the spot. And if they're willing to share just with me, that'd be awesome. Chip and Mandy, if you hit *2 on your phone just to let me know that you'd be interested in sharing, I'll see it on my screen show up. What I'd like to say is, you're prospecting, but throughout the year you're building curiosity and credibility. Throughout, your journey, people are following you. And so this couple that had been kind of tentatively in the business for over a year with us, but really weren't interested. But I knew they could do this, and I knew that they were a dynamic couple. I'm just so blessed to be able to bring them on as partners officially, and they're on this call tonight. And I want to just say to you folks, you're prospecting, you're building curiosity, and so one of the things which is key about this is that you're getting points during the daily method of operation throughout the entire journey. So today, for example, if I had to count the points that I'm getting just on this particular session right now that we'll be talking about on our Zoom call right after this when we go through the charts and how you track points, well, today, you know what, I've been building curiosity with this couple for a year and a half. They've been following me on Facebook and commenting. I get a point for curiosity. You know what? I did a session with them a little earlier, and they officially brought their builder pack into the business. So I got some points for that. There was 5. And then right away I said, I want to get you on a call, which is the training call today, which is worth 3. So now I'm up to 8. And after this call, they're going to be on the Zoom PowerPoint. We're going to do their planning session, and I'm going to get another 5 points. So that's 13 points just with one particular transaction. So I'm going to take them off mute just for a second, just so they say a quick hello. And there you go, guys. You're off mute. Now, Chip, Mandy from Houston, Texas, welcome. You're builders. You're going to have a lot of fun. Nancy and I are so proud to have you frontline with us on our team. But honestly, is what I just said exactly what you went through? Is you've been watching, and we've never been too pushy with you. We were just sort of letting you know what we were doing, yet you were kind of keeping engaged. And here you are today, our newest stars that are about to shine. So do you want to add anything? Do you hear what I say there? Am I bang on or not?
No, you're spot on. And I mean, that's, coming from experience kind of in this industry a little bit is, that drip upon somebody is really very powerful. That, some are going to do it that day, some aren't, and so what? And you move on, and, you slowly drip on that person for a while, and finally they kind of, see the light, if you will. And, having support team is very important. So just hearing this call, I mean, you got the support there, and I've known you for a long time personally, but that's what we're excited for, is that we can't do it, and having somebody to help us, we're more than happy to jump in all of both feet in, and having that support to help.
Exactly. Well, thanks for sharing, you guys, and it's just that having you guys on board is exciting for us because we know you're a dynamic duo. But I think the message here is that the process works when you don't dump the toolbox. And throughout this journey of getting you finally to say we're all in, you never had the toolbox dumped on you, did you? You were always just sort of casually dripped on. Is that a fair statement?
That's very fair.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for saying a quick hello. I'll mute you up there, guys. There you go. Perfect. So, John, I mean, that's our journey, isn't it? When we're prospecting, we're really following our activity, and what we do now is we track that activity. And so when we track that activity, the most important thing we can do as leaders on this call, or future leaders on this call, is be able to go back to our key people and ask them to show us their DMO. Ask them to show us how are you doing. And when we can key in on what they're missing off of and what points they're missing, we have a chance to help them. And John, isn't that really the framework of a daily method of operation, is to have a platform that we can, look at and see what we're hitting and missing on?
No, absolutely not. And like you say, the platform, but then having that platform where you can measure it, right? Measure that DMO, to be honest with yourself, taking and because you're, maybe things aren't going the way you had hoped. And if you go back and look, and be honest with yourself, am I doing the daily method of is it the daily method of operation? It becomes part of your life. right? It becomes so natural to you as if you're brushing your teeth or getting ready in the morning. It's just something you do, right? And that's where you want to get to with that daily method of operation.
Exactly. So there you go. So that's the importance of prospecting, and remember, no does not mean never. It just means not right now, or you haven't given me enough information for me to say yes, right? And Nancy, yourself, how many times have you chatted with people that we've now had come back to us because they've been watching, and they've now asked you for a canine product? And what's fascinating is they had no interest in weight loss. They had no interest in some of our energy products, but now they're coming at us and saying, tell me more about this canine product, and that's going to resurface them in this wellness journey.
Well, it was like Leah Pickett said when we were talking, just a slight recap of our last call. She said, really what you're trying to do when you're having a belly-to-belly interaction with somebody is find common ground. And when you talk about fur babies, I can't think of something that people that have that common ground are more passionate about. There's people that don't have children, and so their pets are their world, and it's a really, really easy way to create already an intimate relationship with somebody when you have a product that's going to help that life, that's going to extend that life, that's going to make that life so much better. I mean, I just keep hearing these incredible testimonials now on the Canine page. It's just been as amazing as the Prevail Max, and the testimonials that come back are just so empowering and endearing to share with people, and it's just been a really powerful tool for us, for sure.
So there you go, prospecting, not dripping too much, not dumping the toolbox, but having the ability to have the door always open is the most important thing you can do, and that was what our session was for this part of our training call. So let's finish up, John, with how to set yourself up in the next 50 days to have the best year ever in 2018. What would you recommend now for this final portion of our call on setting yourself up for 2018 and having that best year possible?
Well, I think, Don, we've covered part of it already on the call, and that is the sense of really, doing that deep down soul searching, because that why is such of a motivation behind that activity and that drive. And really what you want. So, I mean, look at that why, not with a short-term view, but why do you really want this business? And because that's going to be major motivation, right? I think number two is identifying the only way you're going to get there is prospecting, right? We talked about this prospecting, filling that pipeline, doing the follow-up, all of those steps, that DMO that you refer to. But then I think the key is, sticking to it, right? Sticking to that. But these next, 45 days or 50 days, because we can make excuses, right? We can easily make excuses. It's the holidays, holidays are Thanksgiving's coming up, then, we can make excuses that, we don't want to bother people. We don't want to talk to people, right? And the thing about it is we can excuse the next 50 days away, and then it's probably, end of February or March before we get that momentum into our business. The next 50 days, for those people that want to have that best year ever, if you make the most of the next 50 days, don't procrastinate, don't make excuses, sticking to that DMO, making sure you understand what that most important activity is prospecting, right? Because we make that mistake of wanting our team to go prospect, but they're looking at you, right? Everything you do sets that example of what they think they've got to do, right? If you want to motivate your team to prospect, go prospect, right? Go prospect yourself. If you want, to your team to take advantage of the next 50 days, set that example of what you're going to do by personally enrolling, by personally prospecting. Because if you can go into this new year, with a fresh group, an excited group, you're gonna have such of an advantage over those that drift, that coast over the next 50 days. Because here's the thing: people that are looking to change their health, people that are looking to, because this is as we enter into, especially coming out of Thanksgiving, then the holidays really hit us, and yes, the pressure of the holidays, but what everybody's thinking is this: what can I do? What can I do to make 2018 a better year than this past year? top two things is their health and their finances, right? And we have a solution for both. So don't think that that somebody is that you don't want to talk to them because it's the holidays. I don't want to bother. Don't fall into that trap of making excuses not to talk to somebody. Because you know what, if they're looking themselves, which I would think most everybody is looking to make next year a better year than last year, whether we're in Valentus or we're just a prospect, we're looking to make next year that better year. And we have the vehicle, right, to help them accomplish that. We have the system, we have the training, we have everything in place. They're just waiting for your call. So don't fall into that trap of make the most out of these next 50 days. And the way you make the most of that is setting the right example by going out there and personally prospecting, sticking to that DMO. Because right now, even though the holidays are there, in the back of people's minds, they're wondering, what am I going to do to make next year a better year? Because this year wasn't what I hoped, right?
Well,
so, back to you, Don.
Yeah, John, and you know what's exciting about what you're saying there is there are so many people that will wait, but then there's those people that are ready to go right now, and if they wait, some of the people that they're interested in suddenly will be gone somewhere else. Because, as we know, there's 79 million North Americans right now looking for a home-based business. They're looking for a plan B. And ultimately, for all of us that want to be leaders on this call, the speed of the leader determines the speed of the group. And we've seen that. John, you've seen it. Nancy and I have seen that. We're back, my wife and I, on a recruitment mission. We didn't necessarily want Chip and Mandy to start in our business 2 months ago because we were working on this planning session. We were working on the DMO. We were working on helping find those canoes in our team so that we could sort through the process of who we have really on our team to shoot into 2018. And now we're back on, let's go find some new people. And just the other day, I've got another gal coming in that's a network marketer on the team, and she said to me, she's been sitting on her hands a little bit, ready to go, and two people that were on her list she saw on Facebook have found Valentus, and she said, "Oh my gosh, I got to get going here." So you just can't sit back and wait, and you could miss it. Is my point. As interesting it is, as small as we are, as how unknown we are, the speed of that leader will determine the speed of your group. So I'll let Nancy maybe just finish her thoughts around that.
I think my success tip, what I would like to add too, is kind of what I talked about in my last training call was, if your business volume is coming up short, please, please, please do not think that the 16-box Business Builder Pack is not where you start with your team first. We always say get in where you fit in, but there's a lot of people that really undervalue how really incredible this pack is. It is amazing. If you come in at a 90-day return policy, it gives you the most product for the best price for you to sample. It gives you the ability to take the products at the best price. It gets you legacy qualified faster. It prepares you for the share pool and the comp plan. And it's the best mindset. There's a lot of people sometimes that come in a smaller box order that don't have that business mindset. And the 16-box order right out of the gate is just going to get you in business. And I just want everyone to not be humble about it, because it is incredible. It is a great starting platform. There's not a lot of people that can start their entire business for that kind of startup price. So it's an incredible tool, and I just want people to take advantage of that and plug into the psychology of how important it is to get your business off on the right foot.
Yeah, and John,
can I comment on that real quick?
Yes, please do. Please do.
Nancy's saying, that get in with your fit in, but don't be afraid to, ask a little bit, harder for that business pack. The bottom line is, folks, we all know it. By getting them in at the business pack is going to be their greatest chance of success. We're positioning them for success, but I always say you should get started somewhere between serious and nervous. Here's the thing. If you can, you should have more into this than you can afford to lose, right? Because otherwise the motive, if you don't have enough into it where it makes you nervous, right, you're not going to get up off the couch. If you don't get them deep enough into where they're nervous, they're not going to get up off the couch, right? So they should get in just a little bit better than where they fit in. right? Get them the nerve.
I agree.
Right?
I agree, John. And that was what I was trying to get people to realize, was that was really, really important. You are giving everyone the best advantage, and so do not hesitate to offer it.
So, folks, here's once again the Zoom ID number for the planning session we're going to do right now. It's 604-249-4601. If you have the Zoom app, go right in there and log in. We're going to sign off right now, folks. Thanks for joining us on this call. I hope you got something out of it. John, thanks once again for joining us today. And everyone, have a great, wonderful day. And to our American friends, happy Thanksgiving. All the best, everyone. Take care.
Bye now.